Probably something definitely next year I think will be a lot more focused, a lot more businesses will be the whole compliance side, the whole legality of your workforce. So that's something that we'll definitely be, spending a lot of time doing and actually helping businesses sort of track it, because I'm probably less convinced than you are that businesses are doing the right thing by their employees, not just calling a spade. I don't think everyone is getting actual confirmation from employees, yes, I can use your biometric, even though I can guarantee that it's perfectly safe. I think there's probably going to be a lot more regulations around that. The employers will be more liable for that information themselves. Yeah, I see a lot more in that space.
Welcome to the BundyPlus podcast.
We're back. Welcome to BundyPlus podcast again, and this will be the final one for the year. Thank you, Levon, for joining us once again. How you been?
Good. Episode 6.
Episode 6, yep.
So, yeah, coming along.
It's been cool. So I thought for this episode, we just probably concentrate on sort of a bit of reflection on this year, what's worked in payroll or what the trends we've seen. So starting off with you, Levon, what do you think has probably been the biggest trends you've seen this year?
Yeah, the first ones that come to mind is payroll migration. To be specific, and we've probably chatted about this on one of the previous episodes, is a lot of the people who are MYOB EXO clients and who are having to move as that system's being deprecated. So that's been we've dealt with countless, if not around the 50s or more clients who have been migrating across from EXO to Acumatica. The other one being other existing clients of ours who are just looking, maybe they've expanded their workforce and they're looking to add on extra devices, and also clients who are maybe using our older legacy systems and they're choosing to upgrade to our cloud system to take advantage of all the additional features that come with that. So obviously being that we're a week out from Christmas and heading into the new year soon, I think it's a good time to reflect back on those and how we can maybe leverage that for ourselves.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's a funny time of the year where we think, okay, it's the last pay run, everything's done. Now's a great time to be putting in new stuff. But I think a lot of people are just burnt out, right? It's like, look, last pay run, I just want to go home. I just want to finish the year off. I don't want to be thinking about adding a new clock. But then we'll get other clients, as you know, it's like, I need a clock now. We're getting installed over Christmas. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I mean, I was just going to say, even just thinking back to the previous years, like this time of the year, December, January is usually pretty quiet for us, and it still is quieter than the previous months. But interestingly enough, it seems like there is still, like you're saying, people around this time who still want to implement, upgrade, add on clocks, change their payrolls, whatever it is. So it's an interesting mix.
Yeah, and you say EXO, so EXO ES, have they extended the date, do you know, or it's finally finishing?
I'm not sure. It seems to, always be the goalpost keep moving, or the expiry date keeps to keep being extended out further into the future. So I don't know what exactly that expiration date is, but nonetheless, they obviously have a lot of clients and customers. So many people choosing to move across. Some doing it well ahead of time, like almost at the start of this year. And some who are still, maybe a bit late to the party or just not as concerned and only starting to review that now.
So what would be some of the other trends you're seeing? Like what would be like the desktop or the on-prem to cloud? Is that sort of slowing down? Do you think like a lot of people have changed now? They've sort of seen the light of cloud infrastructure or lack thereof on-prem?
Yeah. I think it's getting to the point where it's inevitable. I mean, it'd be good to look back at the numbers, but I mean, we're still always going to have those people who are like, if it's not broken, no need to change, or maybe their workforce is still the same. They've still got the same 10 employees from when they first, took up our systems.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it's surprising. You've seen some of the support calls that we get, and we're just like, geez, forgotten all about this prehistoric piece of hardware or software that some people are still using. But yeah, a lot of people obviously choosing to keep up with the times and move across to cloud. So that being one of them. And another one which we touched on just before we started, it was the whole compliance side of things, privacy, Obviously, we do the biometric devices, so that's one that comes up quite a fair bit in both pre and post sales, where there's a little bit of aversion to using facial recognition specifically, even if it's fingerprint biometrics. So just letting people know of what our data and privacy policies are to make that transition as smooth as possible, or to give them the assurance that their data is safe and we're not
Yeah.
selling their biometric images.
You're not farming it out. That's probably something definitely next year I think will be a lot more focused, a lot more business will be the whole compliance side, the whole legality of your workforce. So that's something we'll definitely be spending a lot of time doing, and actually helping businesses sort of track it, because I'm probably less convinced than you are that businesses are doing the right thing by their employees. Not just calling a spade. I don't think everyone is getting actual confirmation from employees. Yes, I can use your biometric, even though I can guarantee that it's perfectly safe. I think there's probably going to be a lot more regulations around that. The employers will be more liable for that information themselves. So, I see a lot more in that space. And probably, I think it's getting dragged across a little bit by the AI advancements. So people are going, oh, AI, what about my privacy? Well, your privacy has always been there. So why are you now worried about it with AI? Is it because you understand it, or because you didn't care before, or you weren't aware that, hang on, my face is getting put into this thing, even though it doesn't answer me back like, Grok or ChatGPT will. It's not as friendly. But it was always there. It was always a concern. It's always something that you should have been aware of. So, I think moving forward next year, there'll be a lot more focuses on employees and employers to make sure they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and I think you're right in saying you're less convinced that other people are being compliant, and you'd know a lot more about this since we've obviously made sure that we're up to the standards in terms of all the ISO protocol that you've been dealing with. I don't know, what's been the biggest, I guess, lesson or maybe learning experience from taking on all of that?
It's hard. I know that.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it. End of the day, I think a lot of it comes down to training and being aware of what the standards are and what you need to comply with. And that's where we once again, we're going to help the business owners with that, make them more aware that you need to have these things in place, give you plenty of reports, like easy reports. They're not going to be complicated, but has the employee signed the consent to use my biometric, yes or no? So just watering all the very technical stuff of getting into policies and procedures of ISO. Your employees don't want to see that. They just want to see what is like a simple form. This is what we store. This is what, yes, I consent. So the biggest lesson is making it simple. Definitely the training as well, because taking ISO from its very complex form and trying to water it down, like what does ISO mean to you, Levon? I don't know. It's just security, right? It's not. It's privacy. Where is my information going? What information am I giving out? So am I in part of my role as payroll officer? Am I effectively creating a data breach by putting all my employees' information to ChatGPT, sort of things like that. So there's a lot of training around that probably needs to happen. So that's probably my biggest learning, is that you need to look at it from many, many aspects on who is using what and where, and how does that apply to the standards.
Yeah, because there's just so many things, even from our own internal training, that you just might not have ever considered is part of compliance checks. And it doesn't mean that you should also have to wait till you get audited. So it's also to protect yourselves. So yeah, very important was the takeaway.
Yeah, very important. The other thing I see a lot of use for, and that's the actual checking against the awards, like a third-party check against award. There's a lot of really smart services now that will actually check what you're paying is correct, and even down to the real-time data. Comparing your timesheet with what was the end pay. Does everything match up? Are you underpaying? Are you overpaying? In real time, there'll be a lot more services like that coming out. AI obviously helps that kind of thing. But the key takeaway that I take from that is I don't think all employers are fully aware of what their record keeping requirements are, and when it's mandatory or not. And I always think just record frigging everything. Just record everything, because you might think it's a hassle now, but when Mary goes, oh, well, you've been underpaying me for the last 6 weeks, show me your timesheets, and she's, well, there's my paper timesheets, that's not going to cut it. It just won't. So having that real-time data where you can compare with what she was paid versus what she worked, and it'll go both ways, right? I think that will become more and more critical next year.
Yeah. And going back to what I was saying earlier with how many people are still using these older, outdated systems, I mean, like you said, you'd be surprised how many people are still using paper timesheets. And exactly right, from an auditing point of view, like you don't have much to fall back on when you're just using paper timesheets.
Yeah, cool.
And obviously, time and attendance being our bread and butter, we spoke about, the importance of time and attendance and all that kind of thing. But also just using, as part of the review at the end of the year can be, reflecting on that time and attendance data, especially when it comes to like time theft. I see, almost like the full spectrum of clients who are maybe easygoing, or there's a high level of trust within their workforce. And then you get some where they're just like, nah, like this person, they clock in a minute late, like they're not getting paid. You know what I mean? Or they're getting docked, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see, but again, that's the importance of time and attendance, whether you're trustworthy of your staff or not.
Yeah, true. So Lavon, moving into next year, what would be some of your recommendations?
Yeah, sure. So on the back end of obviously reviewing your team, your time and attendance, your performance from this year, you can use that to implement better systems in terms of like productivity. Again, if we go back to like time theft, obviously you're leaking time. Time is money, as we all know. So having better productivity, better understanding in terms of when people should be clocking in. Cleaning up your systems in terms of data as well, whether it's like you've got a system and you've still got age-old information or historic employee data, even though that is still important from an auditing point of view. It's still worth reviewing the rules that you have in place. Then this kind of goes back to the awards topic that we just mentioned before. And just whatever your pain points are from the year, and how those can be improved for the new year. How about you?
I think probably one of the most valuable things I get is by getting feedback from the staff, like getting feedback from the employees, because like they will always see it different than me, and it's not necessarily what are your pain points, but it's what worked, what didn't work. What ideas have you got? And we're not going to always take up every idea of going for 2-hour lunch, but where you could improve the system, because I think probably one of the biggest things in payroll is that trust. So if you have what is a frank and open conversation about these things, and this is why I'm doing this, or next year we're looking at bringing biometrics, how comfortable are they? Have you got any concerns? Leading them through we're choosing a great vendor that's fully private, so you don't need to worry about that. And we're doing it because of this. It's not because we don't trust you, it's because of this. Got any thoughts about that? I've always find those employee feedback really interesting. So I definitely encourage that. But as you said, I think just looking at what were your pain points? Like, what was the biggest pain you had with your payroll? Was it collecting the time? Was it exporting it out to whatever payroll that you had? I hate to bring it up, but is it time to change your payroll? It's one of the hardest things people do, but we obviously see it all the time. But have you outgrown it? Has it not doing what you wanted to do, or is it time to rip that Band-Aid off the old, desktop MYOB and go to something fancy? So that's what I'd be looking forward to next year. Not so much setting goals, Because you should be sort of reviewing that kind of stuff monthly anyway. You should be just progressing forward. I think as a business, if you've plateaued, you're probably not working hard enough, because you could actually be at the top of the peak and you're on your way down. So you need to sort of try to look for those small incremental improvements, whether it's just in a simple T&A or simple processes or cost even.
Yeah, the process of one that just jumped to mind now is, for example, like, you come across clients and they're using our system, and for example, MYOB is their payroll, and we've obviously got all the different integrations with all the different MYOB systems and packages, but they, for whatever reason, still want to do a manual export out of the Excel sheet, and then we're going to manually input that data in, just because of more so just the resistance to change. This is what they've done. This is what they've always done. And it's just like, but hey, we've got a much more efficient solution that you can utilize without changing anything. You're already one of our customers. Your package includes this. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, why don't you take advantage of that instead? And that could save you a couple of hours every week. Better systems, or people who resist change and maybe are just ignorant to what's out there and what's available, even at no extra cost.
That brings 2025 to an end for the BundyPlus podcast. Been so excited to get this out finally, and I hope we've brought a lot of value to people that have been listening and subscribing, whether it's regarding payroll or time and attendance or training your team. Looking forward to next year, which I think will be quite a transformational year when it comes to payroll, AI, and everything related. So we will see you then. Thank you.
2026, let's do it.
Smarter times, stronger teams. Welcome to the BundyPlus podcast. Welcome to the BundyPlus podcast.